We are in the historic town of Kirkcaldy in Dumfries and Galloway, Scotland, which has been a royal burgh since 1455. Kirkcaldy guards the lowest crossing of the River Dee, 6 miles from the Irish Sea, and is the only working harbour on the Solway coast. The town became a magnet for Scottish artists in the late 19th century and is now known as the Artist Town because of this association. Being an harbour town, many lives over the years have been lost at sea, and here, near the harbour, is a wooden sculpture memorial to all those from Kirkcaldy that have perished at sea. Kirkcaldy Harbour is the busiest commercial fishing harbour in Dumfries and Galloway. Approximately 24 vessels use the port regularly, landing shellfish, principally scallops. In recent years, between 7,000 and 8,000 tonnes have been landed to local fish merchants annually, making a significant contribution to the local economy. When I visited in spring, there appeared to be many birds nested in the trees near the harbour, making quite the noise. The building you see on the corner is Kirkcaldy Harbour Cottage Gallery, which provides exhibition space for local, professional and amateur artists. Ahead we get our first sightings of MacLelland's Castle, built by Sir Thomas MacLelland. The castle was completed in 1582 and stands on the site of what was the abandoned convent of Greyfriars. This low grass mound we are about to climb is Motte Bray, and was possibly a 12th century castle motte built to defend the harbour. Shortly after the town received its royal charter in 1455, a friary was built on Motte Bray by the Greyfriars. The name Greyfriars is retained by the church now standing here. The present church was built in 1922, but a remnant of the old parish church survives as the chancel of the present church, which dates back to 1597. Unfortunately, the Greyfriars Church was closed, so we could not have a look inside. Here, in front of the castle, stands Kirkcaldy War Memorial, which commemorates the men of the Scottish town of Kirkcaldy killed during the First and Second World Wars. When I visited the town, MacLelland's Castle was closed for site inspection and repair work. Kirkcaldy has recently been cited as one of Scotland's best towns to retire. The region has the highest proportion of over 65s in Scotland, making it ideal for older people to settle here. It also scores well in terms of average house prices. Kirkcaldy is recognisable for its different coloured houses with the blend of medieval, Georgian and Victorian architecture. We are now going to check out Kirkcaldy Marina and the ancient site of Kirkcaldy's first castle.
Floating Saturday rowboat on the boat. I've got a feeling he might be there for a while.
Oh, bless.
Perhaps he likes it there. Doesn't look right to me. I've heard of bird watching, but that's taking it to extreme.
Maybe he's got some beers there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I wonder if that's the reason he's there.
Here at Kirkcaldy Marina there are 40 drying fore and aft moorings and a floating pontoon system of 50 berths. The floating pontoon extends to over 300 metres in length, which provides shore access for both visiting boats and permanent moorings. When I passed by the marina there was an old gentleman sat in a room boat on dry land. He looked like he was possibly waiting for the tide to come in. We are now at the ancient site of Kirkcaldy's first castle. The first mention of a castle at Kirkcaldy was in 1288, when John Comyn, Sheriff of Wigton, was noticed as being the guardian of the castle and lands which belonged to the king in Kirkcaldy. This castle mentioned was probably the structure erected here at Castle Dykes. During the first phase of the Wars of Independence, Edward I evidently intended Kirkcaldy as a supply port when his fleet lay off the Dee estuary in 1300. The castle was held by the English throughout this period, with Edward I camping at Kirkcaldy for 10 days in the summer of 1300. Thereafter the king turned his attention to the east of Scotland, leaving the west to his son Edward, who may have come to Kirkcaldy in July 1301. Kirkcaldy appears to have been used as a supply base again in 1306. After Edward's first death in 1307, the castle is unlikely to significantly used by the English, and the town was reported as waste in 1335. The castle of Kirkcaldy was included in a grant of lordship of Galloway to Edward Bruce, brother of the king, in the early 14th century, but virtually nothing was heard of the castle after that date. There is no record that the castle was used at all up until 1455, and the castle probably lay in ruins. Sir Thomas McClellan acquired the site in 1577, and he appears to have used much of the material from the castle to build his house, McClellan's Castle, which stands within the town. No outstanding structures remain of the castle, and the site survives as a massive earthwork comprising of roughly oblong mound surrounded by a ditch. The ancient site of Kirkcaldy Castle is now a peaceful walk on a network of paths outlining where the castle would have once stood. During my visit to Kirkcaldy, it was the weekend of the Spring Fling. This is where artists open their galleries and studios to exhibit and sell their artwork. The Spring Fling is an annual event that takes place over the spring bank holiday period. We are now making our way up the rest of Kirkcudbright High Street to Kirkcudbright Tollbooth, which is the building with the tower you see at the top. Here we pass the house and workplace of two of Kirkcudbright's most famous artists, E.A. Taylor and Jessie M. King. I have left links in the description about them should you be interested in their history. Kirkcudbright Tollbooth was built between 1625 and 1629 and served not only as a toll booth but also as council offices, the burgh and sheriff courts, the criminal prison and debtors' prison. One of the most famous prisoners was John Paul Jones, founder of United States Navy, who was born in the nearby village of Kirkbean. He was held prisoner at Kirkcudbright Tollbooth in 1770 on suspicion of homicide after a sailor under his command died following a flogging Jones had ordered. Across the road is the Selkirk Arms Hotel. The Selkirk Arms Hotel dates back from 1777 and is known to have had Robert Burns as a lodger on several occasions in 1794. Here we have the Lidsgelf, or Odin seat, which in Norse mythology allowed Odin to see into realms as well as listen to them. Of course I had to take a seat to test it out. This is Kirkcudbright Parish Church, a neo-Gothic building opened for worship in 1838 and was designed by prominent Edinburgh architect William Byrne. In Kirkcudbright on the fourth Sunday of every month there is a farmers' market. The farmers' market offers over 30 stalls of the finest gins, chocolates, pies, cupcakes, cheeses, baked goods, fruit and veg, plants, crafts and much more. We will now take a look around the market. One thing to add is that Kirkcudbright has an abundance of free parking around the town, which makes it even more attractive for visitors.
Oh yes, sir.
I absolutely.
How you doing? You alright? Aye, good. Aye. Have you lost up on the ground? Aye.
I really like it.
Sally?
No, I like it. Yeah. It's not like. No, no.
It's in my mouth.
On the outskirts of Kirkcaldy is St Mary's Isle. On St Mary's Isle is a peaceful circular walk on pavements and tracks. The name St Mary's Isle is misleading because it is not an island but a narrow peninsula jutting out from Kirkcaldy Bay. It is named after the 12th century Augustinian priory dedicated to St Mary. No remains of the priory can be seen today. St Mary's Isle became the seat of the Earl of Selkirk, who built the Isle Mansion on the site of the priory and established gardens, once considered to be one of the loveliest spots in Scotland. The mansion house was demolished and replaced with another in 1897, which was lost to fire in the winter of 1940. Other reminders of past uses include the remains of a jetty seen here. I hope you enjoyed this explore of Kirkcaldy. I have left links in the description to more videos on places of interest in the area, and I will also put some links on the screen now.